Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining today. As Joe said, I'm the head of marketing here at Copia, and I am just going to do a quick intro and then pass it off to Nick and Ben, who are going to lead our Deminar today. So again, thank you for joining, and I'm just going to give you the lay of the land as we dive in. The agenda is this quick intro talking about Copia, then the Deminar, and lots of time for Q&A. We will also answer your questions live. If you have questions, please throw them in the chat. It makes it way more valuable, way more engaging when we can answer the questions that are top of mind for you. And that's what this is all about. All right. So Copia, an industrial DevOps platform, we're bringing the best of DevOps into the industrial space. The problem that we're addressing is that in operational technology, there's been so much pressure around avoiding downtime that it's been challenging to modernize and bring new systems in. And we identified that industrial code is a real pain point, triggering downtime over and over again. And we found this by doing a boatload of research over the last several years and really dug in over the last year when we launched the State of Industrial DevOps report. The new one will be coming out in about a month or so, and you can pre-register today. It's full of benchmark findings from large organizations that are running automation in manufacturing and distribution, and it's aimed at understanding what they are thinking about technology, whether it is AI adoption or new tools within the automation space, or entering new categories of space like industrial DevOps in your operational technology space. Quick, high level, what we've seen is that there are so many devices in operation that it's become a problem trying to manage them. It's a lot of research out there. One bit of research that I saw from IoT Analytics is showing a doubling every 5 years of the amount of devices. And on this screen here, you can see it's an overwhelming amount of devices today, and that grows every year. And without the right solution in place to have visibility into these, to manage them, to back them up, you have a problem. And while many people say, well, we have works. Have you heard that before? I've heard it a lot. Really want to move away from what works to what is best in class and how do we get there. And in these research reports and in these seminars, we're trying to help move away from the thing that works to help with future-proofing your organization and finding a solution that can guide you forward. Today, what does Copia look like? We have Copia Copilot, which we've demoed many times and you can see on YouTube, helping to speed the process of documentation, code interpretation, translation from structured text to ladder logic and back and forth, and many other ways to really help make one person act like many. Our Git-based source control, connecting teams and allowing them to collaborate, which we're going to be highlighting on this call today, so I'll move through a little faster, and our device link disaster recovery automated backup tool to help secure your environment in the event of a disaster and speed your time to recovery, which many organizations are using as a core metric to understand where they are and benchmark against other organizations. Also, there are lots of regulations that have entered into the space and many frameworks to help guide how you should be holding your business accountable in terms of that disaster recovery bit. Just a highlight of a few other stats that have come out of these reports. Lots of people have processes, but it seems like the process is broken when you think about 4 hours a month in code review and 45 hours a month debugging. In this year's report, the latest data that'll be coming out in a few weeks, it's 48 hours a month debugging. So a consistent problem that we're seeing in the data. investing in people, investing in process is a great way to move forward, and looking for vendors you can partner with and solutions that are going to support onboarding, support employee retention, support employee growth. It makes all the difference in the world, as you can see from the quote here. A tool that makes my people better and makes them better immediately and makes me a better manager. And lastly, a couple highlights of things that have come out recently or are coming up. Copia just got named in a Hot Tech Innovators report, highlighting our industrial DevOps platform and how it helps power the move towards software-defined automation, software-defined manufacturing, that whole software-defined factory and space that's beginning to be talked about in similar terms to the AI factory of the future. And behind all of these jargony terms, it's really just, what do your operations look like in the future, and how do you help them get there? June 18th, we have a wonderful fireside chat panel conversation coming up with Copia, Clarity, and Frost & Sullivan, and it's based on this white paper, which is on our website for download today, if you want to go take a look and get a preview. And I hope you'll register today to join us. Lastly, again, you can pre-register for this report, and you can access it on our website, the same that I have linked here with this QR code. So thank you for your time. And now I'm going to pass it off to Nick and Ben for the meat of our webinar today.
Thanks, Jerry. And thanks everybody for joining. My name is Nick Buckley. I'm a technical product manager here at Copia Automation. I've been with the company for about 3 years now, but prior to Copia, I was actually introduced to Copia as a controls engineer. I'm going to hand it over to Ben Zerko to give himself an introduction before talking about what we're going to show here today.
Hey, my name is Ben Zerko. I'm a senior software engineer here at Copia Automation. Been here for about 2.5 years, and really excited to show you some of what we've put together.
Great. So I will take over sharing here, Jerry. To be able to see that. So what we're going to be showing here today is some advanced functionality, and really Ben's going to be showing it here. Some advanced functionality within Copia's source control product. I want to start by spending just a minute or two on what source control and really what Git-based source control within Copia is, just in case you're unfamiliar with that. So in short, Git is a version control platform that is really the industry standard for software engineering. So folks like Ben and all of the engineers at Copia developing the Copia product use Git to track their code changes, manage deployment, manage collaboration. The challenge with Git, even though it has many benefits, is that it's the traditional Git is made for text-based files. So think C++, Python, anything you could just open up in a notepad editor. As I'm guessing most of the audience here today is aware of, oftentimes industrial automation formats like your Rockwell ACD files, Siemens files, most PLC formats are not a nice and easy to read format, and they're in a proprietary, binary format. So what Copia does is offers the benefits of Git, like showing the changes and allowing people to develop in parallel, but does that for these industrial platforms. In this case today, we're going to be showing Rockwell Automation for Studio 5000. So to kind of set up what Ben's going to show here today, and by the way, Ben was one of the engineers who developed this emerging feature that we're going to show. We're going to be, in this scenario, I want you to imagine that Ben and I are both controls engineers. Ben's located in our Manhattan office, and I'm located in Minneapolis. So we're working remotely and independently on a PLC project here today. And we're doing that offline. And we want to be able to both do development at the same time to speed up the project delivery. Other platforms typically rely on like a serial, one at a time working kind of structure. But with Git and with Copia, working at the same time on a branch is totally fine and encouraged. So we're going to be showing here today how we can work independently and resolve those conflicts and create a new project that incorporates them all within the Copia ecosystem. So with that, I'll hand it over to Ben to do the demo.
Thanks, Nick. So before I start showing my screen and the different pieces we put together today, to me, this is all about collaboration and change visualization. I think a lot of what I've seen with ladder logic gets pretty complicated pretty quickly, and I hope that this shows how easy it is to see the changes over time. So the first thing I want to think about is if we have both Nick and I making changes to the same pieces of code. We both taking out branches and are working off of our own machines and sort of own environment, so to speak. And Nick's made a bunch of changes here. There's a new controller tag. There's a new local Boolean. He's made some changes to the main routine, and he's made his own new routine. So in this situation, we're really able to show that these are just the changes, and you can actually see all the unmodified items if you'd like to. You can hide those again. And if we go into the main routine, you'll see that there's the part of the collaboration is that you can actually add comments. So me asking, can you explain this more about the change? You can submit reviews before you go ahead and actually approve a pull request. In the conversation page, you're actually able to see all those different pieces come together. So the review is on question, and then it's able to be merged. You can see who made what action before those changes are actually committed. But if we look at those changes again, we can actually see a lot of overlap with my changes, where I have tags that changed. I changed the routine a little bit. I updated the main routine. So there's a bunch of new stuff coming in, and we can see that there's going to be some conflicts between, if we just look at the main routine, rung 3 here, rung 3 here are both new. Changes to rung 2 are both made, or changes to rung 1 are made. And we're actually able to go and we know that this is going to be a conflicting piece. So something that we do is we allow you as the user to go in and resolve these conflicts. So what that looks like is if we run into the conversation tab, we can open the advanced merge tool. And we can now see these different pieces that need to be resolved. So the first thing I want to talk about is that both pieces have, both branches have changes that aren't actually conflicting. So in the exchanges that are now in the main branch, some data type was added. There were a couple of tags added. Nick's routine was added. Those don't need to be resolved because they don't conflict with anything in my own branch. Same thing with my routine, doesn't conflict with anything in Nick's branch. In the both modified sphere, we can actually start to see now we have tags and routines that have both been modified. But similarly, while these tags themselves have both been modified, these existing tags don't actually have any conflicts, so they're both selectable. Say you wanted to not include Nick's local Boolean, we could select over here, and then we would not have that in the new changes. And that would actually cause, ultimately, that Boolean to be removed. So let's get included for now. What I want to show is that these changes are actually being brought into my branch right now, and we'll see that on the change that this is no longer going to be marked as modified. Now, the big piece that we want to show today is that we can actually merge routine and rung conflicts. We can also do this for structured text, although that is not shown in this demonstration today. So the first thing that you need to do is select the base routine to use. And the reason this is important is because there are a couple of items like descriptions that we want to make sure can be taken into account. So if you select the routine from mine, there's no description. If you select the routine from main, then make sure that the description's involved, and anything else that you might be working on, we can include and incorporate. It's just making sure that the details don't get lost. So here we can actually see all the rungs that are in conflict. So in rung 1 on the main branch, which has Nix changes, one of these booleans was changed to a controller boolean, where in rung 1 for my changes, it was changed to Jerry's bool. And we need to select one of them. So I think for this one, we're going to select the change from my side. So what we should see coming forward after we merge and create a new file for review, we should see Jerry's bool pop up in our ultimate changes. And so that should be the change that we see being requested. Let's select the Nix local bool change here. Let's select both of these rungs here. So at the end of this, we should have all 4 of these rungs. And let's see what are the unchanged rungs that we're also going to be included. So by default, we're going to select the rungs in the current working branch. So rung 0 is going to include be for my changes. This only happens if both rungs are exactly the same. And so it's really just the default to make the system work a little bit smoother. But you are able to see those rungs to make sure they come through. So let's go ahead and build the merge result, because we've now made selections to everything. If you don't make selections everywhere, you will not be able to actually trigger this, and we will keep pushing you to make sure that those selections are made. So there's 2 ways you can build a merge result. You can actually download an L5X file format and import it into your own Studio 5000 instance and convert it to ACD, or we can do it for you. It's a lot faster if we do it this way for ourselves, but you may have special setups on Studio 5000 that you want to make sure are incorporated. You can show a preview, and actually take a look at that. So controller tags, we see controller bag, the controller boolean is being incorporated into our branch. We see that all 3 of these are being these local tags are being included. We see that my routine's been added, Nix routine's been added. The main routine has all these different rungs in them, and the data type is also included. So let's go ahead and commit this merge result. So we wait for that to happen. We're not going to see the same exact change difference when we compare this to the main branch, because some of these aren't actually going to be changes on the main branch. The controller tags are not going to be changed when we view this current branch versus the main branch, which already includes the changes that are now being included. So sometimes it takes a couple of moments to run through the L5X conversion and to make this commit. And it's really just the nature of Studio 5000. But here we are. We can see these new commits have been made. The advanced merge tool has been used to update and pull those changes from the main branch that really are Nix changes into this current branch. We have fast forwarded the branch so that any other changes that are non-related can also be incorporated and not lost. So for example, say there was an additional file added. We want to make sure that that file is not overwritten. All right, so let's go see what these changes actually look like. So while we wait for this to load, I'm going to think about what's actually going to appear. And really what we should see is just the changes that I had been working on appearing. Anything that had been incorporated from Nick's side of things won't be included as changed because they're not being changed from the main branch. So what that means is the only changes we see are me adding these 2 booleans. We see that I've added this routine. We see that I've updated the boolean here, and I've added this rung here. So, the update to Nix local boolean for that tag name or usage is is not marked as changed because that's already in the main branch because Nick's changes have already been incorporated into the main branch. And now we can actually go ahead and comment and review as normal and make sure that these things are going to appear as they should. If we show the unmodified items, you'll see the data type that was added from Nick's branch. You'll see the controller tags. We have a setting that's off here. If we show unmodified tags, you'll see it. We tend to hide unmodified tags because a lot of times tags can update pretty frequently. We want to reduce the noise that you as users see so that really the only changes that you see are the ones that are actually important. It's all about streamline. It's all about efficient collaboration in that sense. If there's any other questions, happy to answer them. But yeah, that's the virtual at the moment. Let's see one question. I need to select 100 rungs in one branch, and there's no, there is actually a way to. I'm sorry, I didn't show that the mass selection. There is actually in that branch a way to select 100 boxes at once. You can select all from one side or the other side, and you are able to then make individual modifications after that. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. I think we'll wait for another minute or two if there's any other questions that come in. But while we do, just to kind of summarize kind of the impact of what's been shown here, really now you are able to do that parallel development in a way that's very easily traceable and allows you to kind of skip those really painful and error-prone steps of emailing files back and forth and comparing them side by side, or using Rockwell's own comparison tool and then trying to copy and paste things over. So this allows you to do that, and since it's in Copia, it's all traceable, and it's also, as you can see with Ben, it's available in a web browser, so you don't actually need to run the heavy vendor application software to do this. You could conceivably do it from an iPad on your couch if you really wanted to.
We have another question in. Does your tool
Yes.
work with code developed in Codesys?
So Copia does have support for rendering of Codesys project types, so showing the differences like Ben demonstrated. We do not yet have this advanced merge tool capability for Codesys. The only other platform that we do have it right now currently is for Siemens TIA Portal.
Thanks, Nick.
See, another one came in. We do not yet have support for Mitsubishi in source control at this time, although Copia is always evaluating and trying to add more vendors to truly expand our vendor agnostic platform. So regardless of what platform you're using, you can version control them within Copia.
All right. Any other questions from our audience? We'll give it another minute and then start wrapping up. While we're waiting to see if any last questions come in, I just want to say thank you to everybody that came in our audience. Very happy to have you here today. Ben and Nick, thank you so much for the presentation. I feel like I always learn something new, even though I feel like I've learned so much about Copia. This is one of my favorite seminars to date because of that capability. It's just such a performance enhancer for teams that are working together. And I'm all about process improvement, so I love to see it. All right, no new questions. So thank you all again, and please register for our upcoming events.
Thanks, everybody.